Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to another episode of Odyssey. My name is Sheyi Ainde. Everyone knows me as Gen Z Organist. With me today is Mr. KELECHI NNAM. He's the current choir master of St. Matthew's Anglican Church, Maitama, Abuja. He's my choir master. So, nice having you here, Mr. KELECHI.
Thank you for having me. Good day, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm really glad that I have you here with me. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Before we actually continue to what we have today, I'd love us to know like your background. Can you tell us about your musical journey and how you become a choir master?
Wow, that's a long story.
Yeah, so
Okay, my musical journey. Let me say I've been singing from the womb. I've been in music. I come from a very musical family. Both my parents are choristers. Um, I'm the last born, so
oh,
I was going for choir rehearsal even while in the womb. And then, but then when I realized I could really sing, or I had a knack for music, was think I vaguely remember it sometime in nursery school. I'm sure it was nursery school, and we're preparing for this prize giving day, or valedictory service or something.
yeah.
And then they gathered us little children to sing, kindergarten kind of singing, and every other person was singing what could be the melody. But I remember vaguely that I was singing another part, and I remember that the teacher then was like, "Who is doing that?" And I was scared. I was so scared, like, and, said, "No, no, who is doing that? Is nice." And then I raised my hand, and then just from that vague memory, I remember that was like for me when music started, and then uh, joined the choir, my home church choir back in Lagos, and
Oh,
then basically I just saw myself learning my parts myself. I didn't need anybody to teach me. I could just
wow.
pick up a song and just sing. So it was something inherent in me, and then like that, just like that, I started teaching the choir, and then really that
Wow.
was that was just it. Became choir master back at home. Got into school. Futo was choir master there, and then it's just been that way.
Wow. I could hear you said you grew up in Lagos.
Yes, I did.
Seriously, I'm just hearing that for the first time. So wow. Is there I don't think all you mentioned now, there's no way you mentioned that okay, I got inspired from this also person. It's just like it's a personal thing or a family thing.
Well, I think everyone in my family loves music. So I remember that when I was young, even in Sunday school,
Mm.
I would time when the adult church choir would sing an anthem or sing a hymn. That's the time I would go and ease myself, just to go and listen.
Oh,
So for me, it was just something that I was born with. And
okay.
then over time, now of course I took trainings, took classes, took courses, and then of course was also mentored by the best in the classical music sphere. And then we're here.
Okay.
Yes.
Because in my own family now, I'm the firstborn. You said
Mm,
you are the lastborn. And me as the firstborn,
mm,
I'm the only one doing music.
mm.
My dad was an organist. Are you the only one doing this choir master thing now?
Choir master, choral music. Yes. Yes. My brother also does music. He's an organist, but he does more of contemporary music, saxophone, and music arrangement, production, and all that. But for choral music, yes. But then my nephews and nieces are picking it up, and
Mm-hmm.
they're all in one choir or the other. So
Oh,
yeah.
that is beautiful. So you grew up in an Anglican church setting.
I'm actually born Methodist.
Okay.
I joined the Anglican Church when I got to Futo.
Oh,
Where because there was no Methodist church around, so basically the same. I joined the Anglican Church, and then getting to Abuja, some of my friends in school were in St. Matthew's Church. So choir master is here. He's here. Come and join us. Yeah. that's how I joined, and then yeah.
Okay, it's really really nice because I'm just like getting to know a lot of things now, and you have been a very good leader for me because I would say Sheyi a little bit can have that pride when it comes to working with choir masters. Me myself, because I understand most of them don't understand the music they are teaching, and I just tend to leave the church. But he have been one of the choir master I've found like really, really good. Now, I'll be talking about your choir leadership. Like, what are the key responsibilities of being a choir master?
Well, being a choir master has to do with two branches. There's the music aspect, which is very key, and then the administrative aspect. So basically, it's music and administration, and to avoid conflicts, to
Yeah.
avoid rancor, to avoid growing a choir that is always fighting or it's indisciplined. The choir master must be well grounded in both.
Wow.
Must be very musically grounded, and must be a very good administrator. Um, be able to take decisions when needed. Be able to look at issues dispassionately, and take the right decisions to move the choir forward. But in fact, you see, and it's because a lot of choir masters
Yeah.
either focus on music and don't have administration. That's why you now have the where you now have a situation where in a choir there's a choir master, there's a music director, there's a choir chairman. Because there's that yearning by different church groups to create that balance. But for me as a person, I think that having all that complicates the problem rather than solves the problem. I would rather that if the choir master is not a good administrator, he can go and take courses and blend that. There's something I didn't say by myself. I'm a trained human resource manager, so I think that also and administrator, of course. That also has helped me in my
Yeah.
role as a choir master. So bringing in what I do on my day-to-day in my day-to-day job into the
The
choir
choir.
helps me, create that balance where the need arises.
Because I realized in Lagos, my home church, for example, our organist is always the choir master. Organist is always the choir master. So if they have to give you a job as an organist, it means you're coming as an organist and also the choir master. But on getting here, I realized it's two different jobs. The organist is different, the choir master is different. And I feel it makes the work really very easy for everyone to understand that, oh, you are teaching, oh, you are playing, and all those things. So, sir, I understand that we have different kind of people in the choir, and it's not easy to manage them. So and discipline is very very important in the choir. So like, how do you build discipline and unity within a choir?
It's actually very simple. A lot of people think a lot of people think it's very difficult to have a disciplined choir. I don't agree. The problem, however, is that a lot of leaders put the issue of discipline first. Now, if as a chorister I don't enjoy choir, if as a chorister I don't see myself grow musically every day, I attend rehearsals. If you push me to become disciplined, in quote, I can as well leave the choir. So my approach is to get the choristers to love being in the choir, to have no other thought, you know, to see the choir as it's either I'm here or nothing. Once you have that, once you have a chorister who is challenged every time he or she comes to choir practice, comes to church service, is doing something new, is learning something new, is growing. Okay, growing in pitch, growing in repertoire, growing in interpretation of music. The chorister naturally would love being in the choir. So if I tell you to come for rehearsal by 6 p.m., you will. Because you know that if you come 10 minutes after 6, I might have taught one piece of music. Okay? So if I tell you not to make noise in rehearsal, in fact, I don't need to tell you not to make noise in rehearsal, because the music you're learning is enough stress on your head and you want to focus and learn that music. If you peradventure misbehave and I say you are on suspension for 2 weeks, it would hurt you, because you know that for that 2 weeks you have lost what you would have gained. So the approach to choir discipline is basically to get the choir working, get the choristers to love being in the choir, get them to have a sense that the choir is that family, that you know, that piece. So when I'm in my job and my boss stresses me, I just want to go to choir practice and sing and get my sorrow away. You know, when you get the choir, you create that atmosphere and you get your choristers to love being in the choir. Issue of discipline would, I mean, it would be non-existent, because everyone will do what they ought to do.
You will do what they ought to do. That is like really beautiful, because I understand those things used to like give issues in the choir. Oh, this person is not disciplined, this one is not disciplined, you're talking everywhere and everything. It used to happen back then in Lagos, but I realized in our own choir is different. That's why I have to bring up that question. So, sir, I've worked with some choir masters that I understand this person cannot sight read. Then why are you a choir master? You have this book, you cannot sight read. You say, Sheyi, Organist, please help me transcribe this stuff. They will now come to church and come and teach the choir a music that you cannot actually sight read. Someone that cannot sight read, are they supposed to be choir master, sir?
Well, that question is complicated. And why I would say complicated is it all depends on what people are exposed to. So if I'm in a thick village where I'm not exposed to sight reading, I mean, but based on the standard, you see, my approach to this question is it slightly a bit different from the straight answer you're expecting. I see solfa notation and staff notation to be two formulas you use in solving music. However, the globally accepted standard is staff notation. So, professionally speaking, if master will be in front of your name, you must be able to master both.
Yeah.
Master solfa notation, master staff notation. That is what makes you a master. So when you have a professor, the professor knows everything in that field or in the field of study. That's why he's conferred a professorship award. Okay, so for you to have master, professionally speaking, in front of your name, you must be able to master music. You must be able to pick up anything and be able to interpret it. Because until you can interpret, you can't teach. And of course, like I've said, that solfa notation and staff notation are two separate formulas. However, solfa notation is limited to what it should do. So if you want to have a very professional choir and a very sound choir, you can't be a choir master if you cannot read music.
Yeah, because we used to say as choristers, you should be able to sight read too. But the choir master cannot sight read, and the chorister wants to know how to sight read. But it's fine, and I know we'll get there by God's grace. So, sir, there's this. Let's now move to like the choir aspect and leave the choir master is your thing. I know you have a lot of things to say. So now I'll say, as a chorister, I want to come and join the choir. Because of I can talk, people in my house say, "Oh, go and join the choir." So, do you just accept everybody that comes to the choir and say, "Oh, I want to join the choir," and you realize this person doesn't have the vocal capability to be able to like sing, or cause anybody that can talk, can they sing? Can everybody that can talk sing?
Well,
Because of if they come, if you come now and you realize that I don't think this person will be able to sing, will you still accept the person or train?
well, you know that a church is a church. Volunteer, you know, when people want to serve God, I mean, you really can't stop them from serving God.
Yes.
I'm going somewhere.
Yeah.
So for me, I have a choral group that I direct, and I have a church choir. I won't allow just anybody in my choral group. You must attain a level of professionalism in terms of vocal dexterity, music interpretation abilities to be able to join the choral group. However, for the church, because it's service to God, I cannot throw people away. At the same time, I cannot also toy with the quality of singing that my choir must produce. So if I have somebody who can just talk, say, "Oh, I want to join the choir." Oh, yes, you can join the choir, but you have to be there for as long as it takes you to learn before I confirm you to be, a roving chorister.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one. Two, the voice is not the first thing in music. The fact that you can talk doesn't mean you can sing. The first thing in music is the ear. So when you come, I'm not looking out for your voice, because I can beat your voice and beat it to come out to become what I want it to be. But so the first thing I focus on is the ear. If you are tone deaf, you can't be in the choir. But as long as you can talk, but you are not tone deaf, no problem. But if you're tone deaf, is either you go or you stay. If it takes you 5 years to build on your ear, no problem. But the first thing is to work on the ear and to be sure that the person can reproduce the sounds I expect him to reproduce. Once you can do that, the voice is not a problem. We'll train the voice, and it will become what it should be.
Okay, nice. Really, really beautiful. To hear that is the ear first before the voice, because some people are tone deaf and they don't know that they are tone deaf is another problem. Oh. The fact that you are tone deaf, they are telling you you are tone deaf. You say no, but it's fine. Okay, so how do you choose the music for the choir, or do we just follow the church doctrine before choosing the choice of music for the choir to sing?
Picking a song is a blend of a lot of things. So for a worship service, what I would look out for in selecting hymns, I select the hymns for worship. In selecting hymns would be what the theme of the service is. I would look at that. I would look at ensuring that I'm not repeating hymns, so that my choir has a reason to learn something new every time.
Week. Yeah.
Introducing new tunes. I will also have to look at hymns that the congregation can move with. So, for example, for Anglicans, if I were to pick a processional hymn, because the choir is not seated in the service, I wouldn't pick a tune that is new to the congregation.
Yeah.
I would select a tune that the congregation would relate with. Okay.
Yeah.
However, if I were to pick hymns for communion, I should be able to introduce some new tunes during communion, because my choir is seated and is singing. That way, the congregation gets the room to learn new tunes.
Yeah.
Okay. But for ablution, for example, I should be able to pick something that the whole church would sing, sing together and move on. That's one thing to. So basically, to pick what the choir would grow with, pick what the congregation can relate with. However, if I'm planning a concert, I should be able to go over and above to pick music that would entice and excite the congregation, and also pick something that would improve the singing dexterity of my choir, because the choir is a reflection of the songs they do. If I come and sing all hymns all through, then my choir would be limited in their singing. If I come and sing all classical music, very classical music, baroque music all through, then my choir would be a certain type of way. So there should also be balance, such that I'm able to do chants and canticles, I'm able to do hymns, I'm able to do music from the classical era, the baroque era, even contemporary music. Create a very balanced choir. That way my choir is diversified and can be able to pick anything and be able to present it. So it's a whole lot of planning. It's a whole lot of planning in selecting pieces for the music. But the most important thing, however, because for a church choir it's ministration, the music has to reflect the mood of the service or the mood of whatever event that the choir is singing for.
It doesn't need to go this way. It needs to come together. Beautiful. I'm an organist and I'm your organist. And do you think the organist determine how good the choir is, or the choir master?
No, the choir master determines how good the choir is.
So if you have a bad organist,
he will learn.
If you have a bad organist and you have to perform a song and the organist is not playing well, will the choir sing well?
The organist must play well.
He
doesn't have, except I'm not your choir master, you must play well. You don't have a choice. I mean, you know the hit I give you.
I know this. One thing I don't like is he won't send the song before the choir rehearsal. He will now give me, Sheyi, this is the song we are doing today on the organ. Yeah, play the introduction immediately.
Yes. You see, I agree that organists should have private rehearsal time. Okay, I agree. But you now see a situation where I have worked with a whole lot of organists, where organists rehearse and cram the music, and they now jettison the place of playing at sight. I'm also mindful of that, so that my organist will also grow. My organist will also continually be challenged. So I wouldn't give you a song before rehearsal. I won't do that. The same way I won't send it to the choir and say, oh, you should look at it before a rehearsal. I know that this song, I'll probably perform it in the next 2 weeks. So after that first time you play at sight, you would now go back and rehearse. So that's why I would come and give it to you, give it to the choir and say, 1, 2, go, let's go. So you keep challenging yourself, and you see you're growing. Because the problem is that a lot of people who become musically good end up getting to a choir and remain local champions because they don't grow. They're just at that level. When you now one mantra I have as a choir master is that I train my choristers to be able to stand in any choir. I train my organists to be able to stand in any choir and be the best. Okay, so that's my approach.
Okay, I seriously want to know your all is well. We'll keep sight reading and playing. Okay, me personally, I want to know like your favorite choral pieces that you've conducted and why.
Favorite choral pieces? Wow, that's it's very difficult.
The one that that when you conduct this thing finish, don't be like, oh my god.
Okay, I'll start from the simple to the hard. Well, one song I really love is Magnificat as arranged by KELECHI. I love the music because of the words. So when I conduct it, it's like I'm not in that sphere. But one song I would love to conduct again and again and again and again would be the final chorus in Mendelssohn's Elijah. And then shall your light shine forth. because the amen is so beautiful. It has a very grand entry, grand exit, grand ending, cadence. It's yeah.
Yeah,
That
I understand that. It's not just easy to be a choir master. Even there's no how good you want to be, and there won't be issues in the choir. How do you handle like conflict when there's conflict in the choir already and it needs to be settled? How do you like?
Well, I think the first thing in handling conflicts is that the choir master must be an influential person. You must have influence over your members. And the only way to have that influence is to continually be on top. So if you think about it, the teacher you loved the most in secondary school was the teacher that would enter class and you learn. Do you understand? The teacher that would teach you and you understand was the teacher that would say, "Oh, Sheyi, jump high." You say, "How high?" You know. So once the choristers are able to learn from you, and you're also interested in their welfare, you already have some sort of influence. So conflict resolutions would, even if the choristers do not want to naturally resolve that conflict, but because you have spoken, they see it that they owe you some form of favor to listen to you. And it's conflict resolutions are, for me, they're not a problem. However, the choir master must also be such that he's an impartial judge, must also be such that he's able to have very difficult conversations regardless of who is involved. You know, we have a lot of choir mummies in choirs.
Yeah.
You know, and you see some choir masters bend the rule when it comes to choir mummies or choir daddies, you know, and you know, it's so tough. Yes, of course, there should be mutual respect, but rules are rules, laws are laws. If you're able to apply the rules when you ought to apply them, regardless of who is involved, I don't think there's any conflict you cannot resolve as a choir master.
Yeah, that's choir mummies, choir daddies, elders. There are people that know when they even get back to you.
Oh yes, but you see, the way you relate with them and the way you manage them, would determine how well you know, you relate, how well they behave. Okay, I was in a choir where I was choir master and my mother was a chorister. It didn't stop me from punishing her when she made noise. And when we go home, you're my mother, but here I'm in charge.
Really. We're here to work. Oh, let's work. So we'll go back home and settle the score. So I want you to advise us, you know, me too. What advice would you give young musicians who wants to become choir masters?
You have to strive to be the best. You see, I never aimed to be choir master. I just aimed to do the music and do it very professionally, be the best. Okay, so I saw myself attending courses. I mean, I hold a diploma in music. I saw myself join the Lazekweme choral, not for anything, because I just wanted to learn. I still want to learn, and never think that you have arrived. As I am, I still learn. I still rehearse. You know, I still visit other choirs, sit in their rehearsal, and act like I'm not a choir master. I just want to learn. So keep learning, keep growing. The more you grow and build yourself, then people see something in you. They see a light in you, and then you can become that.
Yeah, thank you so much for the advice. Me too. I'm trying to become the best version of myself. We are working and rehearsing every day, daily. I am really glad and happy to have you as my choir master. I think it's going to like 2 years now that I've joined the choir, and I can say I'm not the Sheyi I used to be. I'm now getting better because of serious works and books that I'm playing now. I've worked on Elijah Mendelssohn. I'm working on his up. I'm proud of myself. Thank you so much, Mr. KELECHI NNAM, for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
Yes, for everyone outside there is a married man, please He's a married man. So, sir, we are giving you this token from Organ Odyssey.
Oh,
Yeah, to thank you so much for coming today.
thank you very much.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate this.
And I hope when we call you again, you come.
Of course. I'm always there for all my choristers. So anytime.
Sir. You understand? Thank you so much for watching today's episode of Organ Odyssey. And please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share. And also click on the bell button for notification on when we post our next videos. Thank you so much. Bye.